What's up, YouTube? Poor Man Podcast back with another video. Today's video is going to be male senator destroys the gender pay gap. All right, y'all gotta see this. I'm so happy how well this man stood his ground against these women that were trying to promote this ridiculous agenda. All right, before I get into the video though, gotta do the YouTube stuff. The goal is 30,000 subscribers by June. It's a crazy goal, it's a big goal, but it's my goal. All right, and the only way I'm gonna get to my goal is if you give me the HBO special. Do you know what the HBO special is? That's the Help a Brother Out special. All right, so go on and help a brother out. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. I'm going to give y'all a second to do that. All right, now let's get to the video. Male senator destroys the gender wage gap. Let's see what he has to say.
ABS data on employee earnings and hours. The gender pay gap as at May 2016 was 15.7%. It is a survey of employees, that information from the ABS. It's not a census. And it's only conducted every 2 years. They only collect the data every 2 years. What we do is we annualise our figure to full-time. So we look at all part-time employees and full-time employees that may have worked part of a 12-month period, and we annualise that data to take into account part-time hours. So therefore we're converting the part-time hours to full-time, if you like.
So do you take into account the fact that on average a male full-time employee works longer hours than a female full-time employee?
Look.
Not directly, no.
You don't?
But we annualise the part-time hours and those that have worked full-time but for part of the year. So that way, because at the moment, what I can tell you is women work part-time at 3 times the rate of men.
Yeah.
So by annualising it, we are looking at a more realistic...
So you base it on annual salary?
Yeah.
What about if you did it on an hourly rate? What would be the gender hourly pay gap?
Well, we don't have that data, Senator.
You don't have that data?
No, because we ask for annualised salaries from our employers when they report their data in.
How convenient. All right, these are women that are supposed to do this job, to bring this, to get a bill or a policy put in place to support their agenda, and they ain't even doing the bare minimum in terms of the facts needed to bring an argument. Okay, the reality of the matter is this: the gender wage gap, that big study that everyone talks about when they say women only make 77% of what a man makes, 77 cents on the dollar of what a man makes. Well, that study never equated for even occupation. All it did was took annual salary average of a man and the annual salary average of a woman. It didn't take into account the occupation. It didn't take account how many hours people work. It didn't take account how much time people take off because of whatever personal reasons. And it didn't take account of how dangerous the jobs may be. Okay? Men work more dangerous jobs, and dangerous jobs are compensated as such. They deserve to get paid more for more dangerous jobs. When you talk about construction, when you talk about logging, these are dangerous jobs. In fact, in 2012, 92% of the workplace deaths were men. Okay, if we're for all of this equality, why aren't we talking about that statistic? Does that just get swept under the rug? Okay, because it seems as if you don't really want equal pay for equal work. You want to get paid as much for less work. On average, women work 36 hours a week, 36.1 to be exact, while men work 42 hours on average per week. So of course the men are going to get paid more annually. It just makes sense. Also, whatever you put out is what you're going to get compensated for. So if you're willing to do extra work and stay and do extra hours, you're going to earn more. That's just how the game works. So we got to stop playing this game where we act like woe is me, and like men have all gathered around this table and decided that we're all going to discriminate against women. It's just not true. It's simply not true, people. Women are 3 times more likely to work part-time than men. All right? The gender wage gap is not true. It's a hoax. But let's continue the video.
Okay, so if a woman was working fewer hours but earning the same rate per hour as a man doing the same job, would that show up as a gender pay gap?
No.
They don't even know
Well,
what.
then in that case, you are looking at hourly rates.
Janine Bruder,
They don't
Research
even-
and Analytics Executive
Like, what are
Manager.
y'all doing?
So we do not collect the real hours that an employee might have worked. So what we do collect is the hours that are specified in a contract, and that is provided by organisations to us. If that makes sense.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you do you annualise it on the assumption that men and women are working the same number of hours, or is it actual earnings?
It's actual earnings, and we are unable to. We don't have the data to distinguish or to then adjust for hours because we cannot collect the real hours that employees are working.
So it's not possible to tell whether any or some of the gender pay gap is just simply attributable to a different number of hours worked. Is that right?
It's that simple.
It depends on whether we're looking at hours that are in contract or whether we're looking at hours that employees worked as overtime.
Why is it you don't look at hours worked? You don't collect it, but the ABS does.
Yeah,
It's
why don't you?
available.
The ABS does
Yeah.
does a survey. Yes.
Every 2 years.
Yes.
But again, as I say, we collect census data, that is survey data. And the other thing I would say at this stage, Senator, is just because somebody might be sitting at their desk for 12 hours a day doesn't mean you're getting 12 hours of productivity out of them, and doesn't mean that they're working in essence any harder than someone that may sit at their desk for 8 hours. So I don't think
That's true.
Okay, look. Okay. And this is where we get to that space, okay? We get to that part where we try to change the argument now. Now she's trying to insinuate that the man who works at his desk for 12, or the man who's at his desk for 12 hours is less productive than the woman that may be at her desk for only 8 hours. So they should get paid the same. That's not how it works, lady. All right? And that's why I always had a problem with people that overwork their jobs. I'm like, man, look, you gonna get paid the same $7.50 if you do this, work extra hard, and if you don't work extra hard. That's just how it works. All right, so they're paying you to be there. You're getting paid per hour. That's how the job works. So a person who waits, I don't care if he's just sitting at the desk, if he texting, if he on Facebook, if he's on the clock for 4 extra hours in that day, he's going to get paid more. And to have the audacity to in an argument where you're trying to say that men are sexist and a wage gap is a result of a patriarchy, to then be sexist yourself and insinuate that a man is less productive than a woman that's sitting at a desk for the same amount of time is just absolutely ridiculous. Especially when you make that argument and the person sitting right next to you is on her phone. Hold on, look at the video. If you're not looking, look at the video. She's on her phone. So she's making an argument about women being more productive, and the lady that's sitting right next to her to the left of her is on her phone while they're absolutely getting destroyed. And he isn't even trying. All he has to do is say, well, why aren't you bringing up hours worked? Does that not matter? Does it not matter how many hours people work to get paid? That's the basics. Why, if you were going to present an argument of a gender wage gap, why wouldn't you have presented that? That information would be necessary, right? It's always conveniently ignored, okay? Conveniently. All these studies are just conveniently ignored when you talk about the occupation, when you talk about hours worked, when you talk about the dangerousness of the job, how dangerous the job is. These are all facts that are conveniently pushed aside, and we just pay attention to how much somebody has in their pocket at the end of the year, man versus woman. It's ridiculous. Let's continue the video. Y'all gotta wait for the end though, because it gets a little hotter at the end. Just wait for the end. Let's keep going.
For 8 hours. So I don't think
That's true, but they're getting paid for the 12 whether they're doing any work, or they're getting paid for however many hours they're sitting at their desk. And the issue for your agency is that if it's a male sitting at a desk, they're getting paid more than a female sitting at a desk. So the question is whether that, irrespective of the hours, the question is whether for those hours for which they're getting paid, is there a difference between men and women?
Come on, man.
So
We don't collect information on ours, Senator.
ABS does, so it's available. So if we put in a question on notice, will you access the ABS data and so you can answer that question?
Well, I did answer it earlier. I said that the ABS employee and earnings and hours data, as at May 2016, the gender pay gap was 15.7%.
That, if I understood you correctly, it's referring to annualised salary, is that right?
Not.
What's the gap based on? Per hourly rates or annual incomes or annualised incomes, or what are we talking about here?
It's like, what is the argument? What do you even...
Okay. The EEH data, so that's the employee earnings and hours data, includes all employees regardless of employment status and reflects ordinary time cash earnings. The EEH survey produces hourly earnings for non-managers and can be used to produce a gender pay gap measure inclusive or exclusive of part-time employees. The EEH data can also be configured in a variety of other ways that are useful to the gender pay gap estimates, e.g. managerial versus non-managerial employees. The big drawback from where we sit is that EEH data was identified as being, is just done on a 2-year cycle.
I don't think I can think of many men who would find it acceptable that a woman, irrespective of how many hours she's working in the day, if she's doing the same amount of work as a man, or the same job as a man, was paid any less on the basis that she's a woman. I can't think of any men who would support that. And yet, because you're not looking at hours, we don't know whether that's occurring or not. Am I right there?
Okay, so basically there's about 30 seconds of the video left. He's going to just basically tell them to go back to the drawing board, as they should, and get an argument. Okay, and every time there are women and men having these debates when it comes to sex and gender and inequality, it always ends with this. It's just emotion. There's no statistics or data to back them up. Okay, and in a capitalistic society, we live in a capitalistic society. You don't think that $1 trillion company like Apple, who is always looking for loopholes and ways to make money, wouldn't just hire all women? If they can pay you 23% less than men, that would increase their bottom line by 23% immediately, just by hiring people that are women. They would be hiring based on cup size instead of competence. Okay? Are you kidding me? This is absolutely ridiculous. The situation is men are just interested in things, women are interested in people. Okay? And the problem with women, there's nothing wrong with women being interested in people. When you look at those jobs, those are nurses, those are teachers, those are social workers. Things in that, psychologists, those are in that side. Okay? That's what women are interested in. The only problem with it is you get paid more for being interested in things. Why? Because it's just more scalable. Okay? When you work with people, you're exchanging your time for money. Okay? If I go and teach, I'm exchanging my time for money. Now, I can tutor and maybe get more money for my time, but I'm still trading my time for money. If I'm a psychologist, I'm still trading time for money. All right? If I'm a social worker, I'm trading time for money. Okay? While if I'm interested in things, I can build a laptop. And what can I do with a laptop? I can sell it at Walmart and sell 100 million of them. Okay? It's just more scalable. When you're interested in things, you can invent. Innovation. It makes you when you can create things. If you develop a software program and you sell it to 100,000 people, you're just going to make more than a teacher who is really good at teaching, because she just sells her time. She sells her time and not a product. When you're interested in things, you can sell products. When you're interested in people, you sell time for the most part. So that's just the difference. There is no secret meeting that men have had that we just want to crush women. Okay? Think about it, y'all. In a capitalistic society, do you really think Apple would let 23%, $1 trillion company, do you really think they would just let 23% go under the rug because they want to hire men? Let's be completely honest about this, y'all. get a argument. If you're going to come and talk about gender inequality, get an argument. Get a strong argument. And even me, I am willing to change my opinion if presented with new information. That's how being an intellectual works. That's how people who critical think works. I'm not opposed to creating a different idea or having a different mindset if you can present to me a certain amount of information. It's just that that information has yet to be presented. Anytime, like, I could do videos of people when they talk about other red pill content creators, and every time the women do that, they only talk about the person's character. They don't talk about the information that the person has presented. Okay, I do plenty of those with Kevin Samuels, Coach Greg Adams. There may be some of O'Shea Duke Jackson, and they're always talking about the person and not their argument. Come with an argument. Come with statistics. Come with facts. And then we can have this conversation. Till next time.